Welcome to Wild West Garage. My name's Morgan, and that's a 19-something 70, I think, 250 out of a Nova. So when I saw the ad for this engine, it had a distributor in the picture. But when I got to the place where they were selling it, there's no distributor in the engine. Anyway, so without going into all the details of what we did while we were there trying to look for it, I went online to see what a new one's worth, like a new distributor, and it's, you know, $100, $120 US, which isn't the end of the world, but I paid $350 for this engine, so that's like half the cost of, well, a third of the cost of this whole thing. And I don't know anything about this engine other than that it turns over and it, you know, the spark plugs looked okay. So I think it's a good running engine as it sits here. But of course it's not going to run without a distributor. So anyways, I thought, what about the 235 distributor? Why couldn't I put that in there? So I tried it in there. It's the same diameter, like the shaft housing fits in there, no problem. It's nice and tight, it's not sloppy. It seems like it's meshing with the cam gear, but the stem that drives the oil pump is too short. So I'm going to mess around with this thing and see if I can make it work in this engine. Here's the 235 distributor, and it's got the vacuum pot, you know, as you can see outside down on the housing. And so if you try to install this in the engine, it'll drop in there, but there's just no room for this vacuum pot. So there's no way, so it either interferes with the oil filter or the fuel pump. So there's no way I can leave this on here for this application. And so anyways, if there we go. So, you know, if they'd left this back here where it originally was on the 235, it would probably work. But there's a motor mount there, and that's probably part of the reason why they moved it up here. And then also the proper distributor for this engine, this pot is on the top here, and the breaker plate rotates inside the housing, whereas this one, to get vacuum advance, the whole thing rotates in the block. So I guess there's probably an O-ring that goes in one of those grooves there to seal it. So anyways, I've got another distributor that doesn't have this vacuum advance stuff on it, or the hold down plate, which is kind of integral to the, see, that clamps there, and then that plate hooks into this to hold it into the engine. So you kind of need both of these parts. I guess I could cut the pot. Oh, I don't actually have, I could cut the pot off this one to hold it in there, but I don't want to do that. I don't have any of this hardware for the other one, so I'm just gonna have to make something. But anyways, I'll just get modifying this thing, and we'll make this engine run. Okay, before I get too carried away with this, I've got the distributor in there, and I'm just going to rotate the engine and see if we have any binding issues. It doesn't seem like it's doing anything weird to me. I'm quite certain that the gear is the same at this point. Yeah, so I'm fairly satisfied that that is the same gear as it would have on the proper distributor for this engine. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I determine the difference in length. And of course, this is all pretty irrelevant, really, when I think about it, because I don't think anybody else is going to do this, but I'm just showing it you this because this is what I'm doing right now. So you get to watch. So I'm fairly certain that this distributor is sliding into the engine until this part of the gear touches down on the hole where this goes through. So that's just butting up against that surface. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a vernier, an old-fashioned one, no digital here. Started buying batteries. And I'm going to slide this down in here. And that's all the way in. There we go. So there's a step because there's a notch in that drive for the oil pump. And I'm just going to push this down, and it's going to shoulder up onto that where that gear is bottoming out. So you can see that's how much longer that needs to be to the base of this right here. So I've already determined that this is not a piece of hardened steel. I don't know if you can see it, but I see that right there. I just took a file and I filed that, and it's quite soft. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to weld a chunk of steel onto the bottom of this and extend it that much so it's going to work. And then I got to figure out a way to keep this from turning while it's running. Okay, there it is, welded on. I just took a piece of 1/2-inch square bar and cut a chunk off it long enough to, the same width as this, more or less. I see it's a little bent. Of course I can straighten that easily. So I'm just going to go ahead and grind this down to the right dimensions now. And we'll stick it in there and see what happens. There we go. All ready to install. Just a little piece of coat hanger bent into a U shape and some legs on it, and then the original clamp with some washers on top. You can see that. That'll clamp that down. And I can turn this wherever I want for timing. And just snug up this clamp, and it'll hold everything in place. Get this all tightened down. There we go. +20 PSI while cranking. Okay, it's go time. See if it goes. Got the ignition hooked up. Gonna hit the starter. It's trying. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Waking up the neighborhood a little bit. Carburetor's full. Yep. Just let that evaporate for a little bit. Or maybe not. How bad can it get? Okay. That's enough of that. Give it a compression test. I never did check the oil pressure. Okay, let's splash it up one more time. Check that.
Two.
PSI. Sounded better that time. heat. It's equal amounts of heat so far. Those plugs. According to my fingermometer. They're all just hot enough that it's getting uncomfortable to hold them. So they were all firing. That's good. So this time, I'm going to hold the throttle wide open somehow. So this return spring. I did this once when I was a young man of 18 and I forgot to take the spring off, put it back to where it should go. And you can guess what happened. Nothing got hurt though. Some nasty stuff. I'm just going to whirl this over. Okay, let's see what we got here. $160, $155, yeah, $145, $160, $60. Another 160. So let's have a revisit to number 4 there. Yeah, 150. So 150 to 165. That's pretty darn good. So the first one was 165. Let's check that again. Yeah, 160. So 150 to 160. That is a good engine. So 150 to 160 on the compression. The oil pressure was topped out at 35. That's not super good. So what I think I'll do is I'll put this thing on a stand and I'll pull the bottom end apart and see what I got for clearances and throw a set of bearings in it maybe, and that'll tighten that up hopefully, and I can use it. So I'm planning on putting this in the 50 Chev. I'd kind of like to get the powertrain all tidied up, and then I'm gonna get the frame all done, powertrain in it, and carry on from there. So I haven't done a video for a while. Apologize for that, but there's been a lot going on here. Different things, and you know, I struggled with that those 235s. I was hoping to get a video of, I had an engine, I tore it apart, and I was just going to get it cleaned up to rebuild it, but it just turned out it was just too far gone. Well, I could have rebuilt it, but I would have had to send it to the machine shop, and I didn't really want to do that. So anyways, I'm not going to go into the reasons why, but so then I found another 235 with like in a chassis with a transmission behind it and like a rolling chassis. So I picked that up for $200. And just looking at it, it kind of, almost looked like somebody might have rebuilt it, but that wasn't the case. Or I suppose it was rebuilt at some point in its life, but the crank rod, the rod journals they're pretty out of round, so I just kind of abandoned that. I might still put that motor back together, just as a runner. I can sell it as a runner, a running core. I think that's what I'm going to do. And anyways, so back to, so that was kind of what I was working on for a video, but it just didn't pan out. But anyways, I've been working on some pipes, and you've probably seen some of my my shorts. I'm just going to put the camera down here for a sec. So I've got some pipes ready to go. 562 Enterprise pipes. I'm working on a website right now. We're going to be doing some work on it tonight to sell these through. So once that happens, once that's up and running, I'll let you know. I've got 4 of these available, and as soon as the website is operational, I'll make another announcement, and people can go over there and check it out. I'm not gonna tell you that the price is right now. I know I threw a number out there a while ago for my UFO pipe, but let's just say the price has gone up a little bit. But I just have to get my door rate for these pipes. So if it takes me all day to make one, I got to get paid for all day, a whole 8-hour day. So that's where I'm at with them. So, and I've looked around on the internet a little bit, and there are other pipes available. None of them look like my pipes. I don't know if that means anything, but it means something to me, and it may mean something to somebody else too that really wants one. And are there pipes out there that perform as well as this one? Probably. Are there pipes out there that are cheaper than this one? Probably. I know there are. Are there pipes out there that are more expensive than this one? Yes. So anyways, once the website's going, you'll be able to go there and make a decision whether or not you want to buy. So anyway, I'm happy about the outcome on that little straight 6. I'm happy how these pipes turned out. I think they turned out, they're beautiful. I mean, they're an art piece, a functional art piece for your saw. So if that's what you want, if you want an accessory, there's all kinds. People buy accessories for all kinds of things that don't necessarily do anything. They just look. They make something look different, and that's a big part of these pipes. But they've also been shown to increase the performance of 562 by quite a bit. They outperform the stock pipe by quite a bit. And like I said, they may or may not outperform other pipes that are built for that saw and that are available. But none of them look like my pipes, and they probably don't take 8 hours to build either. So this is just an experiment for me, and if you can be patient with me, I'm working on some designs that don't necessarily look as cool, but they're going to be equal to the performance of this saw or this pipe. I'm also working on a pipe with a screen, and I'm just going to show you. It's based on the Enterprise tooling. This is it right here. So it's a little bit long. I got to trim it back. But I'm gonna put a screen in this right across the the opening. There's a little baffle in there, and that it's gonna have a screen on the whole thing. I didn't want to put screens on the Enterprise pipe because I just thought it would be it's just kind of hard to put them on it, for one, because the openings aren't very large, and I thought it might hinder the performance of the pipe. But this, I'll have a lot of surface area for a screen. That's like 2 square inches of screen. So that, I don't think that's going to hinder the performance of the pipe at all. And I think this will be a very similar performing pipe as the Enterprise pipe. I might kind of make it the same as the Enterprise with the chutes, the exits, and they'll terminate in behind the screen, so it'll be able to flow into the middle to get out. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet, but anyways, that's in the works. So for you guys that need screens on your pipes, that's what's going on at Wild West Garage. And so I'm gonna be building some more pipes for other saws based on the tooling for the 562 pipe, because I've got it worked out now where I can press out those the chamber top and bottom, and it's just a lot easier. And of course there's still lots of work to fit the parts. Once you get them pressed out, they're not a perfect fit, but yeah, so going forward, most of my pipes are going to be based on this this shell. Even I'm even working on a UFO design that's going to be based on this shell as well. So that's going to be offered for 266 Husky 266 and 372s. And maybe some other saws as well coming up. I know I've had a lot of requests for 572 pipes, so I think this 562 pipe is a pretty close match, pretty close fit. I think the flange is the same. I haven't tried to fit it to a saw yet, but I think that Buchan brought me. He had I think his ram horn that he's got that he had for the 572, we modified it a little bit to fit the 562. So I'm pretty certain that's what we did. I'm not sure exactly, but I think that's where that pipe came from. So we got it to fit the 562 by just angling it over a little bit one way away from the chain. So so that's a possibility. That'd be an easy conversion to a 572. But I've got to sell these first. I won't be making any other pipes until I've sold these 4. So anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. That was an 8-minute ramble. And like I said, it's been a while since I made a video, so thanks for sticking around and watching this one. And see me next time.